I'm Robert Anthony.
I'm Joelle Anthony.
This is Watson. In 2020, we felt God's call in our lives to do something incredibly radical.
In 2023, we sold our flower shop, our home, just about everything we owned, and purchased our Winnebago Flex RV.
This began our trek into the vast unknown. Our mission is to take you along, showing you things you otherwise may never be able to see.
We would be so thankful to have you follow along and become part of our adventures.
Now, let's get to today's video. After 2.5 months of an unplanned stint as a work camper in an RV park, the time had finally arrived where we would make our way into the desert to begin photographing and capturing video of the desert spring bloom. The location that we were parked as a work camper left a lot to be desired. It was a dry, arid, desolate area in the middle of a desert winter. We were able to find places to see and things to do: Slab City, Salvation Mountain, East Jesus. We even got the opportunity to visit the Chocolate Mountains in a Polaris Razor, thanks to a generous friend. But we were, by the time the 2.5 months had ended, ready to begin the trek into the wilderness, the reason for which we're actually doing this. The desert has to be, by far, my favorite place to visit as a photographer. The landscapes are extreme. When it's dark, it's really dark. When the sun shines, it really shines. When it's hot, it's really hot. And when it's cold, it's really cold. In the summer, it's barren and dry, and it seems like death is everywhere. Yet in the spring, the desert puts on some of the most colorful, epic displays of wildflowers a human being can ever witness. Little did we know, one of the most sought-after desert wildflower bloom areas that a human could visit was immediately across the sea from where our work camper gig began.
So I've been listening to Rob talk about desert wildflowers for 5 years now. And I will say, this by far has been my favorite thing to do. I have been personally overwhelmed with all the beautiful flowers that I have been witnessing and taking photos of.
The desert, to me, metaphorically represents life. At its prettiest, the desert is amazing. And in life, at its prettiest, life is amazing. But in its ugly extremes, the desert is nasty. Rattlesnakes, scorpions, and heat. heat that through dehydration could easily kill a human being. Life is just like that. At its ugliest, it's barren, harsh, and scary.
So it's been said to bloom where you're planted. As I look at all of these flowers and see where God planted each and every one of them, I am reminded to just be okay where God plants me.
Interestingly, only days ago, as I was reading a devotional by Chuck Swindoll, he had penned these words. When speaking of the Lord, these are his thoughts. He makes the rain fall, the sun shine, the stars twinkle, in this and all other galaxies. He raises up people in kingdoms, and he brings down both. He numbers the hairs on our heads and determines the days of our lives. In doing so, he weaves everything together into his design. Ultimately, the tapestry of his handiwork will be something to behold. As we walk the vast fields of this Southern California desert floor, I don't think that there could be more appropriate words to describe the experience. God's tapestry reminds me of his incredible artistic care and attention to detail every year, year after year after year after year.
My heart has been so full walking around, viewing all of these beautiful flowers. From spotting a new bud on a bloom to a flower in full bloom, I have just been overwhelmed with joy walking around, experiencing all of these flowers.
We've totally been overwhelmed by the vastness and the epic beauty of the entire area and even our campsite. There's so much to be grateful for to be able to do this, and we're so grateful to be able to share it. The fun thing is this is our first stop of many across the desert in the coming weeks and months to gather photography, video, to share it with the world. You know, if your life is hard right now, welcome to the club. It's hard for all of us. But just like these desert blooms that provide such a kaleidoscope of colors across an otherwise desperately dry, barren landscape, so too you can find joy and hope if you just put your faith and trust in the Creator's hand, because He has, as Chuck Swindoll says, the whole world in His hands.
And remember to be okay where you're planted today and look forward to all the ways God will grow you.